Hey you guys, I'm Laura Gadenig. I'm an astrologer and a therapist, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the weeks of January 13th through the 26th, 2025. And no, I'm not in my usual spot. I'm visiting my uncle in Oregon, so I'm kind of just doing this video in his basement. Also, I just wanted to point out, aren't my earrings really cute? They're slugs. I just thought they were the cutest thing. Okay, anyway, today, Monday the 13th, we have a big old full moon in the sign of Cancer at 24 degrees of Cancer conjunct Mars. Full moons are always times of culmination and things revealing themselves or coming to full light that maybe were hidden or unexpressed or unknown before. So a full moon in Cancer is usually really cozy and emotionally, like where you're feeling emotionally close to others and you're doing comforting things. And usually it's more experienced more subjectively positive, I would say. But because this is a full moon conjunct Mars, and Mars is in a sign that Mars doesn't function very well in the sign of Cancer, it struggles. This full moon is more about dealing with difficult emotional stuff. You might have noticed this over the last couple days, and I bet that you'll notice this energy throughout the course of this week as well. Excuse me. Mars in Cancer is protective, can be a little passive aggressive, and sensitive. Very sensitive to perceived threat. Whether that threat is there or not, doesn't really matter. It's more about what we perceive. But Mars can be very sensitive in Cancer to perceived threat. So that's something to think about during this full moon. What are you perceiving that is threatening that might not be? But also, I feel like this full moon conjunct Mars is really an opportunity to face difficult emotions that we have been repressing, pushing down. And this is really about having the courage, Mars, to face conflict and to express feelings that might have felt hurt or sticky, or maybe feelings that you've been having that you've felt nervous to express or you haven't wanted to face, or that have been difficult to talk about. And because Mars is in the sign of Cancer, and that's where this full moon is happening, Cancer is a sign about home and family. So it could be that these feelings or emotions that are coming up or that you're feeling are related to home and family. It could be related to the more sensitive and vulnerable populations in our world, women and children, and LGBTQ folk, minority folk, people who don't have as much power. And I say that because Mars feels pretty disempowered in the sign of Cancer, or that's one way to think about it. And it might just be about kind of really addressing things that have felt sticky and hurt and emotional with regards to people who are close to you. So, and this is going to be the energy throughout the week because the sun makes its opposition to Mars on Wednesday, the 15th. And so that's kind of, this energy is kind of lasting for a couple days. And so Mars opposite the sun, or the sun opposite Mars, might be about cutting something out that hasn't been working or that's been unhealthy, or that could be a relationship, that could be a habit, that could be a new a way of being, it could be a way you're relating to someone. So there could be some anger and tension that arise, but those are important emotions to pay attention to. Our bodies are very intelligent, and if there is anger coming up, it's probably for a reason. Whether you are right about something, a conflict, a situation, whatever, is not really the point. It's more about what emotion is beneath that anger. What what is really going on for you. And that might take some deeper exploration. I encourage journaling, running, walking, thinking, talking, processing. Yeah. And if you find yourself being a little bit passive aggressive, that's also kind of a sign of like, oh, there's an emotion here that I'm resisting feeling. So just an invitation to be with that emotion. So Tuesday the 14th helps a little bit. So this is after Monday's full moon. Tuesday the 14th, we have Venus and Pisces making a square to Jupiter. These are the two benefic planets coming together in a square, which is a bit more tense, but still useful. This could feel like some forgiveness being possible, kind of having a broader perspective on what's going on and why, and maybe even being able to think about, if you are exploring, if this is about a conflict with another person or hurt feelings coming from a relationship you're in, this might be about like being able to see the other person's perspective or gaining an understanding of why they did what they did, and being able to come to a place of peace or forgiveness potentially. So I think it's helpful. Watch out for, kind of depends on like what your norm is. I was going to say, watch out for overindulging, but if you're someone who is very strict with yourself, this could be very useful energy for you to indulge a little bit more. But Venus square Jupiter does have the tendency to want to go overboard with pleasures and fun and celebration, which is sometimes really fun and great, and other times can have consequences. So kind of up to you how you interpret that. Okay. Friday the 17th, the Sun makes a sextile to Neptune. This is a very kind of dreamy, relax-oriented day. You might feel a little kind of like go with the flow, like you don't want to necessarily make a big plan and stick to it. You just kind of want to see what comes. And then Saturday the 18th, we have Venus making a conjunction with Saturn. So pay attention to what you are navigating here, because this is not the last time that Venus will conjoin with Saturn. So Venus is going to be going on a retrograde journey in the coming months, and on her way back she's going to retrograde in Aries in a couple of weeks later, and then she's going to come back into Pisces and conjoin with Saturn again as she's turning direct. So basically, and I can't remember at the moment, I think it's March and part of April that Venus is in like a month-long conjunction with Saturn. So whatever is happening or whatever we are visiting now on Saturday the 18th, it's not the end of that situation. It's kind of like part 1 of part 2 or 3 series. So Venus and Saturn coming together. First of all, I want to say Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. She loves being there. She's given blessings and gifts and all the things, and makes Venus things really beautiful and easy and fun. And when I say Venus things, I mean relationships, pleasure, love, joy, sex, creativity, art, etc. Saturn is about commitment, longevity, making it through difficult things or saying no to things that aren't worth it. So boundaries. So with Venus conjunct Saturn, what could come up is you could be working through issues in relationships. This could be kind of a time where you're committing to doing the work. If you've been avoiding the work, this might be a time to do that. It could be just committing to a relationship also. It could be deciding to work hard at an art or a performance, like a show, or maybe learning to play a musical instrument or learn a new art form. This could also just be about you thinking very deeply about what you want in relationships and Like what has stopped you in the past from getting what you've wanted, kind of more of a deep dive in your patterns and habits in relationships. This could be about committing to your values and doing a deep dive into what are your values, Venus representing values, and what's really important to me long term, and what do I need in order for that to be sustainable. Wanting to create pleasure and connection long term, and thinking about like, how do I have this be more part of my life in a more significant way on a regular basis? And what am I doing in my life to stop connection and pleasure? What are the little patterns and habits that I have that subtly tell people that I am unavailable, or I don't want them to come close to me, or I don't want them to talk to me? You know, a lot of people have what's called rejection sensitive dysphoria, which is kind of this concept that that they're being rejected when they're not in situations. And that can create a sense of loneliness and isolation. And so it could be, this could be a time of reflecting on and understanding those like subtle patterns and habits that we have that push people away as a means of protecting ourselves. So could be a deep dive into that. And let's see. I think those are some good things to think about with Venus conjunct Saturn. I mean, this whole first week really feels like, okay, I have to be honest about my emotions and feel them and express them. If there's any anger, resentment, hurt, this is the week to own it. Mars in Cancers with this full moon, I don't think is going to let us get by without owning it. And then it's a time to express it and create better boundaries in relationships that are going to work better for everyone, and that are going to help honor your needs and what's in your best interest. And kind of like, I feel like it's also about self-respect. Better boundaries equals better self-respect. Okay, moving on. Sunday the 19th, Mercury sextiles Saturn and Venus, so kind of continuing that theme, putting a voice to it. We're going to be thinking, contemplating, talking about our boundaries in relationships, and maybe making a plan to have a better relationship, to work on a relationship, or to work on an art or some sort of performance, or how to have more pleasure in your life, more relaxation. Tuesday the 21st, the Sun makes a conjunction to Pluto. So the Sun heads into Aquarius and conjoins with Pluto. And this is the first time that this is happening in like a couple hundred years. So pretty big deal. Pluto's about death and rebirth experiences, making radical changes through something having to end or die. So there could be an element of transformation here, and this could be related to this last week, right, of like what's going on relationally and emotionally. There could also be some power struggles. Pluto can be quite an erotic planet, so there might be more erotic or sexual tension, and you might find yourself wanting to do a deep dive into a subject and understand it very, intensely and deeply. You might notice a desire to do intense group activity. And I say that because Aquarius is a sign about groups and doing things in a group or in an organization. So kind of this like drive to do things with friends or a group you're a part of. Wednesday the 23rd, Mars makes a sextile to Uranus, and let's see, there's a lot going on. So Mars makes a sextile to Uranus, Mercury makes an opposition to Mars, and then Mercury trines Uranus. So all of that, I feel, is contributing to thinking differently, thinking outside of the box. Mercury is the mind, Uranus is change, outside of the box thinking, and then taking action on it. Mars is about taking action. So thinking differently, being more strategic in your thinking, innovation, and a willingness to do things differently. This feels pretty encouraging. And, Mars is still retrograde in Cancer, so not the most assertive energy. We're still in reflection mode. We're still reviewing things. We're not necessarily ready to take action, but maybe more of a willingness to take action or identifying the steps that you want to take, sort of thing. And then on Saturday the 25th, Venus trines Mars, which is still retrograde. And this is, I think, very helpful. This feels like some playfulness in relationships. This feels like still more erotic or sexual energy in the air. Good time for like a date with your loved one, with doing something playful and creative. This looks like taking assertive action and going for what you want, I think, and what feels desirable. Sunday the 26th, Venus sextiles Uranus and Mercury sextiles Neptune. This is nice energy. I would say pretty chill. Like Mercury sextile Neptune is like, I want to zone out a little bit. I want to get lost in a fantasy novel or in a film. I want to play music or meditate or just do something where my mind gets to be in a flow zone. And then Venus sextiling Uranus is like, I want to have fun in a way that I haven't done before. I want to do something different, and I want to be innovative in the way that I experience pleasure or joy. So kind of a nice combo. I would say kind of a chill day, chill vibe to the day, but also doing something fun or different. Okay, so that's the astrology of the next couple weeks. Please reach out if you're interested in how this impacts you specifically, because it lands differently for everyone depending on your chart, your birth chart. And I hope everyone is well, and I hope this was useful. And I will be back in a couple weeks with another astrological update. Take care.